I am a very below novice art historian. But one of my favorite paintings that I'd ever seen was a Caravaggio. And I was in Rome, and I believe it's at St. Louis the King Church. And I had heard that it was there. And in that painting is the calling of St. Matthew. And you see Jesus point his finger. And Caravaggio actually, they used to call one light source. Like if you put a candle in a room, whatever light came from that candle is how he used to paint. One of my favorite painters. Just a gorgeous painting. And there it was, the one I've seen for like decades. I finally got to see one of my favorite Caravaggios. And one of my things that I think is so funny is you have a picture of Matthew's like this with the money. Should I give it? Should I keep it? It gives you the impression he's trying to keep it. But you can interpret it either way. Either he's going to give it to the poor, or it's like one of those snapshots. You just can't tell. Could you imagine, though, if Jesus pointed his finger at you and said, I want you to follow me? Would you do it? Now, Jesus pointed his finger at me when I was baptized. I want you to be a part of my family. So we've all been pointed at. We've all been called. We just weren't called as adults. Some of us, yes, but most of us were called. Our parents baptized us into the faith. We have been called. We have been chosen. Think about that. There's over 8 billion people on this planet, and not even half are Christian. So we won. We were lucky. We either were born in a Catholic family, or God graced us with the grace of conversion, so we converted to the faith. I don't have no words to describe how lucky I feel. I was just lucky that all Italians got baptized Catholic. And all were baptized Tony. Just kidding. But more importantly, that I was called at baptism, and then I don't take that calling for granted. And when Jesus calls this sinner, you could probably think of different analogies today of people who are great sinners. We got to remember, St. Matthew wasn't just a sinner, he was a betrayer of his own people. Like he taxed his own people. I guess you could say somebody who works for the IRS. Going after you, that's in your family, and auditing you, your own family member. I guess that's the only equivalent I could think of. But to call that type of person who was really a betrayer of your people to be one of the great apostles who wrote one of the best gospels we have, that's, to me, is an amazing thing. Now, I'm not called to do amazing things. I'm just called to be faithful to what God has asked me to do. And God has called you specifically to be faithful and to become a saint in your life, in your state of life. There are great saints who were laity, sisters, brothers, priests, bishops, and sometimes even popes. But we all have that call. We don't have to be, what's the word I'm thinking of? We don't have to feel like that we're that special. Because if you think about it, are we that special? If we're already loved unconditionally loved by God, how more loved can I be? So, am I more special? No. I just have a different role in my calling, in my state of life. Like you have your own calling in your own state of life. We should always try to make holy our environment and the people that we know. And ourselves too. That we've been called to. Jesus has pointed his finger right at you, and he's pointed it right at me from the moment we were baptized. We are on God's radar. And in the baptismal rite, it says something very clearly. It says this: I claim you for Christ. And I do the sign of the cross on the forehead, and I ask the parents and the godparents to do the same. When I claim you for Christ, that means you belong to Christ. The devil has no legal right over us. That's very powerful language. Look, I tell people that, like, look, the devil just literally just lost rights over you because you've been claimed for Christ. All we have to do now is act like it.